Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we're back on the Division 1 on the Xbox Series X, trying to enjoy the game on console at a higher frame rate. Microsoft and I think Ubisoft have some kind of a relationship going. You guys remember from back in the day, the reveals and all of the stuff was kind of sponsored by Xbox, and this is like from 2013. And from time to time, whenever Ubisoft goes to E3 or whatever, you'll see that, they have a lot of the Xbox stuff going on. So I think they were able to, in my opinion anyways, get an FPS boost going much easier than Sony or, they decided, yeah, if Microsoft's going to let us do the FPS boost, we'll go ahead and do it. So I guess it goes down to a few things. The files for this game still exist within the company. They're still stored, in some vault somewhere. So they were able to still go back and say, hey, why don't we go ahead and basically, render the game? I don't know how their engine works when it comes to, packaging the game. This is game developer stuff right here. And so they went ahead and said, yeah, let's just remove the FPS cap from it for the Xbox. But then when it came to the PlayStation, they haven't done anything about it yet. I mean, we're talking here on the channel. I was talking to one of my audience members here from Germany, Mr. Errol. And, he was saying that it's interesting that they haven't done this for the PlayStation 4. And I think it's also interesting as well that they haven't done it either. Anyways, there are other concerns, other considerations and all of that. But I'm glad that they still did it. And a lot of people who may have thought a little bit less about the first game, can now see, okay, the machines were not at the level where we could actually, run the game at this quality. I'm speaking of this quality. My last video, we talked about the quality that was shown at the E3 Xbox event, which is basically not even, what we got. But this is still respectable nonetheless. If you can imagine getting something like this rendering on computers as of 2013, 2014, before the game came out in 2016, that's impressive if you were to ask me. All right, so Base of Ops is going to be right here. I think we're close to it, or we're right at it. And we're about to jump into the conflict. I don't even know where else to go. There it is. Okay. And this mission was actually pretty intense. I remember, the way the JTF officer was freaking out. And that's another thing about JTF. They freaked out so much. You kind of wondered, like, are these guys really the people that were going to help out New York? I mean, what would they have done, without the Division? That's how the JTF felt, right? But I like the way they beefed them up in the Division 2, where they're kind of pretty good. But they could be better. Division's AI, writing is also kind of different as well. So that's a whole different AI system. And then it's a game that was kind of new, so I think they were kind of exploring some of their options. Plus, if you think about all the advanced mechanics, I honestly can't blame them for having a weak JTF. I mean, I like the way the gear and everything ran, so I would take that over, AI that's excessively, excessively all of the above. Like, oh, my AI can drink a soda when I tell them to. All that stuff. Nah, we're good. Let me see. I can't hit here, man. I can hit weak points in Division 2. This game exposed how bad I was at shooting games. This game really showed me, like, yo, you don't know nothing about shooters, man. You suck at these. And I was like, I do. Grenades, man. Impactful in this game, I mean, very impactful. You hit an enemy with a grenade, they felt it. For real. I don't know what that is, if that's another gun. I'm just going to stay here and avoid the temptation of going out there. Look, this guy was hiding right here. All right. That was actually easier than I thought. I guess I'm no longer as bad at shooting as I was back then. All right. So, Division Shield Cache. Oh, okay. These are probably rewards that were added later in the game. Equip, loot. And so I guess you're seeing them, now, because when the game first came out, I don't think we had that. No, I'm certain that we didn't have anything like that. Another thing, too, that Division kind of struggled from was the way Massive actually planned out their end game. I strongly believe that Massive has one major struggle. Now, I don't know exactly what to call it, but it's in their end game for the two games that they've released. And they've released two really huge major games. I don't know if it's a matter of them not having like a 3-4 year vision that's solid that they can sell to their bosses. Like if you're gonna do an end game, you got to be able to say, hey, like look at Destiny 2. Bungie was able to sell their very first few, years, and then eventually kind of break away because they wanted to continue their vision. They had the vision. And I don't know how easy it is, too. That's another thing, because if you sit and develop a game for like 8 years, for those of you who don't know, Division was in development for a very long time. It's also kind of hard for you to kind of see what the next few years will be, but I think what it takes as a game designer or creative director or game director is to be able to see that 3 years after your game has released in a bigger picture. And I think right now Ubisoft Massive is not necessarily allowing for this to happen, because when their creative directors finish a project, it seems to me, and this is within Massive, that they quickly snag them off that project. They put the associate creative director on the project or something like that, and boom, the creative director is now already working on something else. So I don't know if it's necessarily the best way to go with a game like this. If this game had like a 3-year solid content, piece that was going to pretty much, be significant enough to keep the community, then it would have really worked. They set out the game, all the hard work that they did, and they had only Falcon Lost Incursion. That's all they had. Now, I'm not saying that they did a poor job. I'm saying that, the years of development probably just got spent on doing all of these basic 30-hour, 40-hour level 30 progression that by the time they probably got the end game, they were probably like, man, we got to ship this game or we're going to, starve, because that's another thing. Ubisoft is their parent company, but they ship games based on, they ship games so that they can stay relevant, so that they can remain a studio that's open and all of that stuff. But again, I guess somebody's probably learned enough lessons from this in order for them to be able to know and say, okay, we made these mistakes. Why don't we go ahead and correct them this way? But guess what? Whoever that person is more than likely Magnus Jensen, but Massive pulled him away and put him on Avatar. So whenever, Julian Garrity came around and said, we've learned from those mistakes, I don't think he probably learned the lesson because he had somebody else to take a lot of the heat in terms of that. So basically, Julian, I don't think he could really mitigate for a lot of those same issues because he didn't make the mistakes that brought those issues, if you get what I mean. Like if Magnus was developing Division 2, he would have corrected a lot for, some of the mistakes. I think if he was directing the Division 2, he would have corrected for some of the mistakes. So, it's like a chef and a sous chef in a sense. So what we're hoping is somehow Yannick has seen enough and is able to kind of figure out, okay, where to steer this ship, if you get what I mean. I don't know if it's something that he's eager to do. I don't know if it's something that he'll be given the opportunity to do, or if the Division is going to continue, if there's going to be a reboot. But if there's a reboot, I feel like the community can rally around Yannick. This is just the straight truth. He's somebody that really does understand the community in a very different way that we haven't necessarily seen other, community developers and other community communications flow like they do from us and Yannick. Now, Terry is another person too, but in Massive, Yannick is that person. And I feel like if they were to give him the task of a reboot or the task of a Division 3, he might be able to glean from what both creative directors have done. And probably be able to bring out a really good product. But again, we don't know if there's a Division 3. All we're waiting for is the next new content. But we're the base of operations. I'm going to cut this video off here. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. Let me know in the comment section, what you think. I'll probably bring my PC character out one of these days and we'll play, just the regular mission because that character is all maxed out and everything. But I really like this, nostalgia and this kind of painstaking walkthrough over different aspects of the game, and I guess it's just something that I can just take my time and just talk about the game extensively without even worrying about time limits and stuff. But again, I also have to understand, like, okay, even though you've given me some of your time, I don't want to abuse it. So we'll see in another video hopefully. Thanks once again. Peace out.